So over the past month, we've looked at not quite my complete survival system, but we have looked at everything from my everyday carry that I keep in my pocket all the time, all the way up to my inch bag, or I'm never coming home bag, right? Many times over the last 4 videos, I've talked about how the different things that I've shown you add up to equal an actual survival system, right? So the last bag that we went through last week isn't the totality of what I would have in a inch system, right? Like when I went through that bag, I tried to make it clear that I wasn't just talking about that bag, right? The system leading up to that, all of that fits together to make one whole survival system. You've got my everyday carry, you've got my get home, you've got my bug out, and then you've got the inch bag, right? So those 4 things work together to complete an inch system. And today we're going to talk more about what that means, what it means to be in a survival situation, and a few other things as well. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go. Okay, welcome back, y'all. For those of you who this might be your first time, my name is Alan, and you are watching Crow's Nest Outdoor Adventures, where I cover topics all over the place when it comes to being outside, right? I love to be outside. I love to be outside, especially in the woods. I love to be out around rivers. I love to be out around lakes. I love to be around water, right? However, I primarily really enjoy motorcycle camping. So that is something that I do a lot of. Everything else I do some of. But one thing that I do know is that the ability to survive is paramount. It is all-encompassing. And I know a lot of people, when they think of survival, they think of, out in the woods and you got to get down and dirty, blah, 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 etc., etc. Now, that is my preferred way to do it. If we're ever in such a situation where that is needed, that is certainly probably where I would go to. However, not everybody can do that, right? Some people are stuck in urban areas and other places, right? As you know, as you can clearly see, I'm a truck driver. That's what I do for my 9-to-5 job, right? I drive trucks. So most everything that I need is always with me here in the truck. Okay, I don't really need anything. I mean, I practically live an RV lifestyle being in a truck all the time, right? I mean, I've got a bed back here. I've got a refrigerator, freezer. I've got a microwave. It's actually a 3-in-1 microwave. That's a microwave, air fryer, convection oven, all in one. I've got the an APU, or auxiliary power unit, on the truck that, you know, you might be able to hear it running right now if you listen close enough. So I mean, I pretty much live most of the time in a motorhome, right? I travel with pretty much everything that I need. But that as it may, if I need to get out of this truck and I need to go somewhere else, you know, I have the bags, the systems in place to be able to do what I need to do in my situation. And everybody's situation is going to be different. But let's really talk about a survival system for a second. You know, what is it and what is it for? Well, so let's imagine that aliens come and they conquer us, whatever we need to go. Okay, bad example. I know, bad example, terrible example. Likelihood of that happen is obviously very low. Or what if there's mutant ninja turtles or something that comes? Again, obviously very low. Mutant rats, could be. Or maybe there's personal reasons that you need to go for. You know, maybe you've got an operative after you and you've got to go now. I don't know. I don't know what your situation might be. I don't know what a situation could happen, but I know of different situations that I've thought through And, I've been working to know, hey, what can I do in these given situations to make sure that I can survive that situation? What can I do to help make sure that my wife survives in that given situation? What can I do to make sure that my closest friends and family survive through that kind of situation, right? And so really the survival system is just a way to survive various calamities that may occur, right? Now, a survival system isn't just about bags. It isn't just about your EDC. It isn't just about what you can carry on your body. A survival system might include things like caches. You might, in my case, I travel all over the United States. I have different caches here, there, and everywhere. I've got friends here, there, and everywhere. I've got different locations that I know that I can go to based on any given situation, from big city to absolutely out in the middle of nowhere. But that's what you have to plan for you, because a survival situation for you might not be a survival situation for me. A survival situation for me might not be a survival situation for you. So we've all got different things that we need to make sure are included when we talk about our survivability or our survival system and our survival plans. What do you have? Pre-planned transportation in different places that you might be at to make sure that you can move from location to location? Or are you going to be on foot all the time? Are you going to, obviously there are so many different things that come into the purview of what it means to have a survival system in place. The items that I've went over in the past 4 videos have been about, what do I have in place? What do I use regularly to make sure that if I'm put in a situation, I have a way out of that situation? Is my system perfect? No. If you have a perfect system, please drop it down in the comments. Let us know what your perfect survival system is that will work for anybody and everybody, anywhere at any time. We would all be happy to see that. The truth is, there is no such thing as a perfect survival system that fits everybody. It just doesn't exist, because we all have different needs. We all have different desires. We all have different comfort levels. We all have different skills. And that is another part of your survival system, right? What are your skills? Do you have the ability to build a fire from nothing? Can you build a friction fire? Can you build a fire? There are so many different ways of building fire, right? What are your skills? What does your skill set allow you to do? And what does that skill set allow you to do quickest? Now, for me, as you guys know, skills or no skills, a Bic lighter is going to light a fire faster than anything, right? That's why I keep a Bic lighter in my EDC in my pocket, right? That is always in my pocket. I always have a way to start a fire quickly if necessary. I need to get that fire going quickly. It's there. I've got the cordage. I've got the way to build a quick down and dirty shelter in my pocket at all times. Okay? That is just, that's the very base of what I believe everyone should have. Again, that depends on your situation, right? I know guys that carry what I carry as a get-home bag. I know guys that carry that as their everyday carry. But most of those guys live out in a rural area. They rarely leave the rural area, so they can walk around with things like that. They can walk around with things like a full tang, nice blade on their side at all times. They can walk around with open carry at all times. They can, there's all these different things. Again, it depends on your situation. It depends on where you're at. Okay. Being in the truck, I go from big city to rural every day, not just once a week, not just every other day. Every day I'm going through all of these different areas. So I have to make sure that what I'm carrying on me is not going to put my livelihood in jeopardy. So that's something that you have to consider for your life and where you're at, where you live, what you do for work. all of those different things have to be considered when building out your survival system. For me, again, going back to what I said a couple minutes ago, my survival system is not perfect. I would say it's not even complete yet. Some of the things that I know that I need in my survival system that aren't in my survival system is, well, anything to do with medical. Okay, I don't have anything currently in my survival system. Yeah, think about that for a second. I don't have anything in my survival system to deal with cuts. I don't have anything to, I've got things that can be used for tourniquets, but I don't have a tourniquet. But I don't have anything that most people would consider, oh, this is my med kit. And that's something that I'm working on right now, trying to fix, because I do think that a certain level of medical is important to have. A couple of things that I would like to add to my EDC kit is I would like to add some aspirin. Okay, if I'm having a heart attack, they say that putting aspirin, aspirin will thin your blood and maybe add a couple more minutes that you might have for help to get to you or whatever. So that's something that I would like to add. I would like to add maybe some kind of energy or caffeine pill to that kit. I would like to add maybe some Band-Aids, if necessary, if I need to do a quick butterfly stitch with some Band-Aids or whatever, things like that. So there are some small things like that that I know that I want to get into my EDC. But there are other things that I also want to include in my other levels of gear, right? Where it just steps up each time. So that's something that I know I don't have what I need. And I'm working on that. I will get there with that. I do want to address just real quickly, in my previous video, and I do appreciate all comments, but somebody made the comment that, I needed something to lay on and lay under. And I made the comment that, I kind of went over that in previous videos, before my last video. Again, is what I have perfect? No. Do I know that it will work for me, for my comfort level, to get me to where, from where, whatever I need? Yes. Would I like to add to it? Would I like to make it better? Yes. Will I? Yes, absolutely. That's part of doing these videos and getting out with your stuff to actually work with what you have and determining, okay, I'm going to get rid of this. No, I'm going to keep this. Another comment made was about my stool, and well, you don't need that extra stool, you don't need that. Nope, I don't need that. But you know what? It weighs less than half a pound. It's simple and easy to carry. Takes up almost zero room. Doesn't take away from the rest of the kit, and gives me a small sense of just, it's a good vibe thing. This is going to help me keep a better mindset, right? Just knowing that I have a place to sit up off the ground. And, again, it comes down to, are you in a rural setting? Are you in an urban setting? Suburban? Where are you? What is acceptable? If I'm in an urban setting, I would definitely rather have that stool available to me than have to sit on the ground if I need to sit down or whatever. Okay, that stool gives me a little bit of peace of mind. Okay, so for most people, maybe that's not important. For me, that one little thing, while it's not super important, is just a nice little piece of kit to have. And it doesn't take away from anything else that I do have. Now, in talking about the overall survival system, we also have to talk about transportation. And I did mention that a couple minutes ago, but what are your transportation plans? And again, that's going to decide on where you're at. Are you in a huge metropolis where there's public transportation? Is public transportation going to be available to you during whatever scenario you can think of that you might need this for? It may be for a while. It may not be right away. You don't know. We go to war. An enemy comes. The first thing they destroy is our infrastructure. We lose power. Chances of having the electric trains running in your metropolis are zero. They're just going to be sitting there, right? And then at that point you have to decide, okay, do I need to go? Do I want to go? Or am I going to shelter in place? Do I have what I need at home to shelter in place? That's another part of survival system, right? So the survival system that we've been talking about is a get out and about survival system, okay? But as far as the survival system at home, do you have canned goods? Do you have food, water supply, medical, that kind of stuff at home to make sure that if you need to shelter in place, if you need to survive where you're at your home, at your apartment, in a motel room, whatever, do you have what you need there to survive? So the whole idea of a survival system encompasses so much, right? But going back to my survival system, going back to my bags, I have some notes here. So if you see me looking over here, I am looking over here at those notes to make sure that I kind of stay on topic, because you guys don't want me over here and then over there and over here. We want to stay on the topic, obviously, of the survival system, okay? So we've talked about my survival system, we've talked about working home, a little bit about transportation, we've talked about travel versus shelter in place. So now we want to talk about building out that system a little bit further, okay? With what I showed everyone in the videos, that would be an on foot type deal, right? Because it all fits on me. They're in separate bags, so I don't have it all on my back. I don't have it all on my side. I don't have it all, etc., etc., right? I've got a system where it's kind of dispersed over my body to make any trekking that I might need to do easier, number one. Number two, it keeps me from having this big, huge bag on my back that says there's something going on with this guy, right? In an inch situation, okay? Obviously, I would not use that fourth bag, the one that we looked at last week. I'm not going to carry that in most situations. It would have to be a I'm never coming home situation, in which case, as soon as I get that on, I'm looking for a place to be unseen. Okay, I'm looking at traveling through woods. I'm not looking at being out in the spotlight, because while that bag's not big, it's different. It sticks out. It stands out. Okay, a sling bag over your shoulder or whatever, that doesn't stick out in today's society. That's kind of a thing that you see whether you're in big city or rural areas. Probably more in big cities than rural areas. But by the time I'm in a rural area, what am I doing? I'm going towards the woods. I'm staying out of the public spotlight, right? So let's build out that kit a little bit further. Let's build it out to say, I've got a way to transport myself. I've got a way to transport more things that would make my life even easier, even better. And a lot of that kind of thing would be equipment that you might consider camping equipment, right? And it might include something like a solar panel and inverter, which I do have. I've got a couple of other larger bags that in a situation where I've got transportation, i.e. one of my motorcycles, I'm going to be able to put those on the motorcycle along with my get home, my bug out, and my inch bag. I'm going to be able to put all those in my panniers and in the trunk of my motorcycle and be able to go. Okay, so all of the survival gear, all of the survival tactics will really depend on the situation that you're in at the time, right? Not every situation is the same. Not everybody has the same skill sets. Not everybody has the same understanding of the geography around them, right? So when you are building your survival kit, whether it's your home prep, whether it is your ability to flee, There's another out. We talked about shelter in place or getting out of Dodge, whatever. Are you in fight mode? Maybe you're in fight mode. Maybe we're being attacked, and every U.S. citizen is having to fight from their windows. I don't know. You don't know. Okay, so that's something else that comes under the purview of survival. What is survival? And survival to me comes down to the Scout motto, right? Be prepared. So you want to be prepared for any scenario. But here's the thing about that. You don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what situation you may be put in. And if you don't know what you don't know, then how are you to know how to plan for a certain situation that you might not even think of as a possibility? It might not even cross your mind. You don't know what you don't know, right? But overall, a survival system needs to be designed the best you know how to be prepared for any situation that may arise. For me, what I've shown you over the past 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure, because, hey, let's be honest, until you're faced with a situation, you don't know, right? But I'm pretty sure that I could survive most anything thrown at me with those 4 things, okay? With that inch system, if you will. Can everybody survive with my inch system? No. Is my inch system designed for every type of place? Kinda, but not entirely. Because I know that if I'm put in that area, what I'm going to want to do is flee to, if possible, a safe area. And a safe area for me is going to be a heavily forested area. That's not true for everybody. For some people, they will feel safer if they are in a city environment where there are more people around, where they don't feel like they're the target, or for whatever reason, they just may feel more comfortable in that environment. For me personally, I want to get away from that environment because I believe that in any survival situation, the places that are going to be hit the worst by that situation are going to be your big cities. So for me, I'm going to want to move away from those big cities as far and fast as possible. And my system allows me to do that at my comfort level. My stool, going back to that, my stool allows me to stay off the ground. If it's been raining for days and days and days and days and days and days and days, I'm going to appreciate that. I'm going to appreciate that stool. And you might say, well, you could grab anything or whatever. Yes, but I know that I've got a stool. Again, my comfort level, my pack, the way I want my pack. Now, we go back to Dave Canterbury's 5 C's. I've got the 5 C's covered. I've got the 10 C's covered. I know how to use what I have. Do I practice with it enough? Probably not. But I know that I have what I have. I know how to use what I have. And so I know that long term and in the long run, I'm going to be okay. I hope that everyone has a survival system in place that they can use, that they know how to use, and that they have the skills necessary to survive. There are a lot of skills that I don't have. There are a lot of skills that I'm wanting to build. And part of doing these videos is to really force myself to grow those skills, right? Because I want to be able to know what I need to know when I need to know it. Okay? Excuse me. A lot of things I don't need to know. But a lot of things I might need to know. A lot of things you don't know. A lot of things you might need to know. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But for me, my system works for me. Again, there are things that I would like to add to my system. Med is one of the top things. Medical is by far one of the top things. And going back to that, in my pocket EDC, I talked about maybe some Band-Aids. I'd like some chapstick in there. I would like a needle and thread in there. I would like maybe a triple antibiotic cream, just one of those little small packs. You don't need a tube, right? Just a little small pack, because we're talking the EDC in your pocket, right? A small pack of aspirin, Tylenol, Band-Aids, maybe even a couple water purification tabs, right? I mean, in my pocket EDC, I have a way to boil water. Okay, so do I need that? Do I need those water purification tabs? Well, it depends on where I'm at, right? I mean, if I'm in an inner city area and I find, hey, I've got to get water in me, and I can't find it anywhere, maybe all I can find is a spigot on the outside of a commercial building where I can, open it up and get some water. I want to know that I have a way to boil it. But if I'm in inner city, I can't necessarily boil it without drawing too much attention, right? So it would be nice to maybe have a couple water purification tabs in that EDC that I can, put some water in the Ziploc bag, drop the tablets in there, seal it up, and know that in half hour or so I'm going to have drinkable water. So that's something that I would definitely like to change in that. I have changed something already. The video that I showed before had a full-size Bic. I have changed from a full-size Bic to a mini Bic in that EDC. The reason for that is because, remember, my EDC is everyday carry. I mean, EDC, that's what EDC stands for, right? Everyday carry. I want to be able to get as much stuff in there as I can, okay? By going from the full size to the mini, hopefully when I put the water purification tabs and that kind of thing in there, it won't take up more and more, too. I mean, obviously it's going to take up more and more space, but I don't want it to become a chore to carry this in my pocket. I don't want it to overly stand out. I want it to continue to look like the size of a wallet, which is what it is, right? It's the size of a wallet, so it doesn't really stand out. So that's one reason that I changed from the full size to the mini. Let's talk about some other changes I'm wanting to make. Obviously, again, the meds. The medical kit, I would definitely like to expand in each consecutive bag. Also, I had talked about the canteen. Y'all may remember that canteen. Looking at that, I have decided what I'm going to do is get a single wall steel cup that my poncho will fit into, and then fit into the bag. Because I've already got the poncho in there, and if I could fit a single wall steel cup in there with the poncho in it, I think that's going to be a better option than... Okay, sorry about that, guys. The camera decided it needed to shut down and reboot. Okay, so no more canteen, going with a metal cup. Talked about the med kit. Clothing. In that fanny bag, the get home bag, I want to add a pair of socks and underwear. Simple, small, will fit in there easily, right? I'd also like to put in there a Sawyer Mini. I think that would be good to have in there, and I would also like to get a flat. It's not called a roll because it's flat. I'd like to get a flat pack of Gorilla Tape to drop in there as well. So those are some changes that I know in the next 30 to 60 days I want to make to that get home fanny pack. Third bag, sling bag, the bug out bag, right? I want to add clothing to it. I want to add a shirt. I want to add socks, maybe some long underwear. Yeah, I would like to add a minimum of those three things to that. The bigger bag, the inch bag. Again, and remember that I said in each one of these bags, I want to add med. Okay, I'll build it up each place each time, add a med kit, right? But in the bigger bag, I do want to add a shirt and some pants. And the pants that I think I'm going to add to that are going to be a pair of the zip-off outdoor pants, the zip-off adventure pants that can either be shorts or long pants. The reason for that being, depending on where I'm at, depending on time of year, I might not want a full pair of pants. I might just want shorts. So that's something that I would definitely like to add. Alright, so that covers my system as is. That covers, I talked about the 2 bags that I use. I talked about we need to use our systems, right? One of the things about my EDC always being on me, since it is an EDC, is pulling it out and utilizing it. Utilizing the things that are in that EDC. If you're carrying an EDC, to me, part of it should be something that you can or will use on a regular basis, so you're going to pull it out. One of the things that I use on a regular basis on that is my little flashlight. I use it a lot because it's there, it's handy, I can pull it out, and because it's connected to the EDC pouch that is secure in my pocket, I can actually hang it out of my pocket and turn it on, and it gives me a lot of immediate light, okay? But that's important to me, being able to have things in it that you are going to use on a daily basis, so you're pulling it out and getting used to having it. But as far as everything else goes, I believe that you should, if possible, get out and utilize that stuff. For me, as a truck driver, sometimes it's easy to do it, sometimes, most of the time, it's not easy to do it. Because, let's be honest, I'm gone 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time, right? So, when I am home, there's home duties that I've got to attend to. There's other things that need done. So it is difficult for me to actually get out and do this stuff that I want to do. But there will come a time when I will have more time to do it, just not this year. This year is a work year. This year, need to get a lot of work done to prepare for next year. And hopefully by the middle of next year, I'll be able to do a lot more of what I'm wanting to do. Alright, so let's talk about some extra things that you might want that I didn't show you necessarily when we were going through my gear dumps. Self-protection. I don't do pew-pews here on this channel. You will never see a pew-pew here on this channel. It's not what I'm primarily about. I believe that self-protection is 100% a personal thing, and how you decide to take care of that for you is your business. Okay? What I'm saying is, you do you. Second, cash. In each one of my different things, inside this, inside everything else, I have a certain amount of cash. So as I go from one bag to the next bag to the next bag to the next bag, I have extra cash. If somebody steals my wallet, if my wallet somehow gets lost, I am still going to have cash. Not big denominations. Don't carry big denominations, because depending on the situation, you might not want to pull out a $50 bill or a $100 bill and to have somebody break it. You might not want them to realize you have that much on you, depending on the situation, right? So don't use big denominations, but for this type of system, I believe it's best to add some cash in each of those different bags. Gift card, Visa, MasterCard, gift card. If you are in a situation where you are trying to be clandestine, you don't want anybody able to track you, you don't want to use your debit card. Okay, assuming that the ability is there for you to use a debit card or a credit card. Again, this is something that you can go and pay cash for, not have your name attached to it. So it's just a gift card, a Visa, MasterCard gift card with a certain denomination on it. In my case, I believe that you should have a higher denomination depending on the level of bag that you're taking with you. Okay, so each one has, increasing amounts. But that will allow you to do a lot of things depending on the situation. If most everything as well, but you have a clandestine reason to get out of Dodge, having that will be helpful. Next, comms, GPS, this kind of thing. Definitely you should have comms. I recommend, obviously you're going to take your phone with you, okay? Depending on the situation, you might not necessarily have signal, but take your phone with you, unless it's a clandestine situation and you're compromised, right? In that case, make sure that you have a prepaid throwaway somewhere in one of your bags, so that you have a way to reach out into the world. You know, when you get into your situation, you open that box for the first time, or you start your phone for the first time away from any place that you've normally been or whatever. You're going to be able to set it up completely new. You can make a new account at that time to get that phone up and going that doesn't have your name attached to it, etc., etc. So that is a good way to get out of Dodge and still be able to stay in the loop and know what's going on without having to have your primary phone involved if you have to ditch it. GPS. If you've got that phone, you've got GPS. However, having a Garmin inReach or something like that would definitely be helpful, which I don't have, but I do want to have, and I will eventually get. Another thing is having a small handheld ham radio. Again, depending on the situation, you know, if all hell's broke loose and you've got to go and just society is in total breakdown, I do believe that having that little Baofeng or whatever other small ham type radio or GMRS that you're comfortable with carrying, I do believe that could be helpful in that situation. I do have one, and it would go into, I would say that it would go in my sling bag. It'll go in my bug out bag. It would not go, obviously it's not going to be an EDC item. It would not go in my get home bag, but anything bigger than the get home bag, sling bag, and definitely if I've got to take the inch bag backpack, definitely I would want to have that Baofeng with me. So there's just a few bonuses of things that you might want to keep in your bug out bag. I want to be very clear on what I'm about to say. Every person's situation is unique and yet similar. You know, we are all similar in so many ways, especially those of us that are really into actually thinking about survival situations. But a lot of times people get closed-minded as far as what you can or can't have. Listen, you have to be comfortable with what you have. If you want to survive, you have to be comfortable with what you have. Okay? You want something that's going to keep you in a good headspace. Depending on the situation, I mean, you might have to, you might be on a regular daily move for maybe 2 or 3 months or more. You got to think about your headspace, and comfort helps that headspace. Okay, practice with what you have. Practice different scenarios. Think through different scenarios, and don't just think it through, but write it down. Notebooks are a dime a dozen, right? Not really anymore. It used to be, not anymore. Anyways, write down your survival plans. Write down what you want to have in your kit. Write down where you would want to go. What is your bug out location? What are some key places that you know of that, depending on the time of year, depending on the situation, you might be able to go to bug out. All of that's important to developing your own survival kit and to develop your own methodologies of survival. You know, it's easy to watch videos on YouTube or wherever else and be like, oh, I like what they did there. Oh, I like what they did there. Oh, I like what they did there. But unless you're actually putting it down on paper, unless you're actually thinking it through and putting it on paper and working all these things out step by step, piece by piece, it can be very difficult to really grasp what all you actually need or what all you have or don't have that you might want to have. So that's very important. All right. That is going to be all, I think, for this video. The one thing that I hope you all take from this is, if you have not yet, start developing a survival system that will work for you to make your life easier should a survival situation arise. That's number one. Second thing I want you to take from this is make your survival system your survival system. It doesn't have to be like Dave Canterbury's. It doesn't have to be like anybody else's for that matter. Okay, and before anybody listens to that and says, oh, he doesn't like Dave Canterbury, couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, I don't dislike any survival, outdoor, bushcrafting, all of those different skills that fall under survival skills, all of those different channels that fall under that, camping channels. Okay, if you hear me mention somebody's name, whether I say I wouldn't do it this way or I would do it that way, if I mention another channel or the name of the person in another channel, trust me when I say this is a channel that I watch. So I don't dislike them. I believe that we can all learn from each other. Again, going back to the very beginning of this video, my survival system isn't perfect. Your survival system isn't perfect. What's important is that you know what's in your survival system. You know how to use it, and it will work for you. That's what's important. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you have to have this in your survival kit. You have to have this. No, you don't. Okay? You only have to have what you need in your survival kit. Not what somebody else tells you, not what somebody else tries to sell you. You need to have what you know how to use, and you need to practice what you have so you know how to use it, and so that in an emergency situation you're not fumbling around thinking, oh no, what was I supposed to do? How was this supposed to work? No, you need to know that. You need to know that in your heart. You need to know that deep inside your soul. You need to know how to use what you have if you're going to survive a bad situation. So definitely take that with you this time. This is the last video in this survival series. Next month, February, we're going to be talking about moto camping gear and gadgets. I'm a gadget guy. I'm a moto camper. Those are probably my two big passions. I started off with survival for one reason. Well, for a couple reasons. Number one, it's cold outside. All right. And so being able to do these videos through January inside my nice warm cozy truck has been handy dandy. The second reason I've done it is because, to me, everything in life kind of starts with survival, right? That be prepared mindset. Everything starts with that. So like, whether I'm talking about moto camping or just motorcycle riding or anything else, all of it is going to come around to survival. Okay, everything starts with survival. Everything else that you do in the outside world, every tactic you learn, every new skill you learn, all of those fall under a big heading of survival. Okay, a lot of people say, well, camping and bushcraft are different. Yes, they are. Woodcraft and bushcraft are different. Yes, they are. But you know what? All of those different skills fall in one way or another under the big heading of survival. Okay, and so that's why I wanted to start off with that survival this year. I wanted to really start off with a big outward view of what a person needs to look at, looking down, and then we're going to go into different skills. We're going to go into different fun things. What is my channel? Is my channel educational? Is my channel entertainment? To be honest with you, my channel is entertainment. Hopefully you can learn from me. I know that I watch other channels to learn from, because we all want to up our skills, right? We all want to be better tomorrow than we were today. We all want to become better people in general, right? So that's kind of how we work in a society, right? In a functioning society, that's how we work. We learn from each other and we grow together. So that's kind of what the channel is, but the majority of it is just me reminding me what I need. The majority of it is me leaving behind something that maybe my kids and future generations can look back and say, oh, that's Grandpa Crow. And I know that's selfish, but that's really where I'm starting. That's where I'm coming from with these videos. I want future generations, my children, grandchildren, etc., to look back and be like, this is what Grandpa Crow was into. This is what Grandpa Crow thought. These are some things Grandpa Crow said. Because obviously I don't have my kids, grandkids with me all the time, right? It wouldn't work. I live in a fairly small area. But, so that's that. Next month we will be looking at moto camping gear. We're going to be looking at moto camping gadgets. We're going to look at, how the survival bags work with camping. Now I know I've mentioned it a few times over the last month, that, all of these things that I use, if you take them camping with you and use them as part of your camping kit, that's going to give you a reason and a way to work with some of the stuff and familiarize yourself more with each part of your own kit, right? So, next month is moto camping gear and gadgets. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. And I really hope that I can get home soon and that this cold weather breaks so I can get out on the bike. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you've gotten something out of it. I know people hate to hear this, but please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. If you want more of this content coming to you, subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notified when I put out new content. Now I will tell you that I put out a new video every Wednesday. Every Wednesday a video comes out. I do have shorts that come out randomly. Some of you may have actually found my channel through the AI produced shorts that I have going out that are just really, if you don't want to look at those, don't look at them, whatever. It's not important to me how you feel about those shorts. Those shorts are for me. Those shorts are ideas for me. That's all those are. There are some not so factual facts in some of those. They're AI generated. Okay, so take them at face value. What I do when I see them is I'll actually go and I will look at some of the places and things, and I see discrepancies in it. So I know there's discrepancies there. So don't take them at face value. If you see something and you're like, oh, that looks pretty interesting, please open your map book, check out the facts of what you've seen, and make sure that they jive together. That's that. I do have over 50 subscribers now. Thank you guys. And so I will actually be able to do some live content now, hopefully. Before in the past, I've tried to do live content, but it said you can't do this until you have 50 subscribers. I've got 50 subscribers now, so hopefully I can actually do some lives and just drop thoughts in randomly or whatever. So looking forward to being able to do that. It'll be a week before I drop my next video. Until then, do your thing, do what you got to do to live, and remember to keep a positive attitude, and let's go do it. Later.